All right. So this has to be one of the hardest things that we've ever done, which is document our journey of homelessness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just less than a year ago, me and my mother lost everything. And when I tell you it has been one of the toughest times in our life, I don't even have the words to describe it for you all. We ended up with negative $39 in our bank account. We even lost the car that we lived in for 8 straight months. And even today, we are finding ourselves jumping from couch to couch, trying to keep from being on the streets. We have been through it. But I believe God does not take you through journeys like this for no reason. And there's a lesson in every powerful story. So today, we want to show you guys how we not just survived this time of homelessness, but how we've learned to live. And we're going to show you guys 10 ways that we've learned to live during the hardest times of our lives. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. We have been through so much, and if you're watching this, then that means that you yourself may be going through one of the hardest times in your life. And that means you in the right place, because we got some tips for you. Let's get right into it.
Tip number 1.
As we've been going through this journey of homelessness, the main thing that we've really done to make sure that we've stayed sane is pray day in and day out. We pray consistently throughout this whole entire journey.
You know, through our times of prayer, fasting, and praise, because one of the things that, you know, we know to tap into is just that attitude of gratitude, and just really giving God like some praise. The praise is due his name. God is worthy to be praised at all times. And I know there are times, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys have had times where you may not necessarily feel like praising the Lord, you know, maybe because of whatever it is that you're dealing with or whatever it is that you're going through. But just know, as you tap into that vein, it's really like to put eyes back on God and take your eyes off of your situation and really put your eyes back on the person that can take care of what it is that you need to be taken care of. And so it kind of takes you out of that like place of pride where you're like me, and you begin to really look above, you know, the Bible says, I look to the hills from which cometh my help. My help comes from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. So you begin to look up. You don't, you know, you take your focus off of yourself so that you can move from one place to another.
As you're facing these challenges, each day becomes another a day that you dread. It just becomes more and more dreadful.
Yeah.
And you start to lose yourself in the suffering of it all.
Right. It's a daily challenge to, it's like a hump to get over, like every day. And, you know, and that uncertainty piece probably is the worst thing, because like you really don't know, like your hope and your belief is in God, that God will, you know, bring you out of that and see you through it. But you don't know necessarily the timeline of when that's going to happen. So you really have to trust in the Lord, i.e. faith.
But that's really hard to do too, because it's like on one end, you know that you're supposed to have faith in God, and you know that you want to have faith in God, but your circumstances seem to be swallowing up every ounce of faith that you have. And at that point, the only thing you really can do is, and I'm going to keep it real with y'all, is go through the motions of prayer, right? Like, and I'm going to tell you guys the truth. And y'all know this. When you're going through one of the toughest times in your life, sometimes prayer is just a thing that you're doing, right? And sometimes you feel like you have empty prayers because you're like, man, I'm praying and I don't even know if this thing is going to happen. But let me tell you something. That is still what we do. We still pray anyway, because it really doesn't matter what our situation is making us feel. We have to pray just because we know at the end of the day, you have to believe with all your heart that God is listening. And he is not even requiring you to even believe your prayers all the time. He said a mustard. So the mere fact that you're just doing it in general, there has to be some belief there. So, you know, for all of you who might feel that guilt where you're just praying and you're like, man, I don't even know if this is going to happen. I'm not even sure. Well, that is still faith. That still works because you're opening your mouth and you're putting your heart in front of the Lord and you're saying, God, I know that you're more powerful than this situation, even though I feel extremely low at this point. And so I would say that is one of the God first, y'all. So one of the number one things that we've done to make sure that instead of surviving, we're living, we're doing our best to maintain our soul and our spirit, that this situation doesn't suck your soul out. One of the main things that we do would be pray consistently to maintain our faith.
It's actually biblical. It says pray without ceasing.
Pray
So,
without ceasing.
there we go.
There y'all go. On to number 2.
2. Organizing. This is what we did. This was something that was like extremely important for us to do. Really, like even when we knew that we were going to have to start being in our car, we started separating things into their own personal space.
Yeah.
Because trust and know, like if we hadn't done that, because we had a certain amount of things that we put in the car, and of course it kind of filled up our car. So we had like the hatch was like completely full,
and the car was so small.
Yes,
well. So
yes,
we had no choice.
Yes, so we're trying to like make sure that we know that where everything is. So we separated things. One of the things we did, she'll tell you, is we put stuff in bins.
Yeah, right. We did the whole label thing. We subcategorized, y'all. We made sure we knew where the kitchen, well, not the kitchen stuff, but
speak that faith.
Right. Look, we all legit got a kitchen, but the bathroom stuff, the stuff for, you know, our clothes, obviously we had the toiletries, you know, any electronics that we had, chargers, paperwork, right? So one of the things that you're dealing with when you're homeless is that you're going to have everything with you all at once. You're literally lugging everything with you. And that's because you had to either leave some stuff behind or you have to take everything with you. And that becomes extremely stressful because not only are you dealing with this big cloud over your head, but now you have to carry everything with you and make sure that you don't lose it, because this is valuable stuff. If you're carrying it, it's clearly still valuable.
Right.
And you don't want to get that messed up or confused because it's easy to get stuff lost.
Yeah.
In a scenario like that.
Yeah, if you misplace something, like if like we needed, like, you know, for instance, like our passports, our birth certificates, we had to have that in like a certain place so it was easily accessible, you know, things of that nature, like our deodorant, you know, the stuff that we would take to the shower with us. Right. We had to have it like, it had to be easily accessible is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, so we're not like literally going through like every tub that we have, like, where is it? So one of the great things too is like just literally just getting a marker and just like tagging like everything that you can tag,
or get stickers. Go
stickers
to like a little cheap little store for $1. Get you some rainbow stickers, and that way you be like, okay, red is the stuff for this, green is the stuff for that, and that's gonna definitely help you keep the anxiety down.
And this is like something that you, even if you're not living in your car or living out of your car or whatever the case may be, at home, just the power of organizing makes your life so much less stressful. Yes. Right? Because now literally like you can walk somewhere and be like, this is where that is,
right?
And you don't even have to guess about it.
Yes. And when you're going through a tough time in your life, there's already so much that is weighing heavily on you. So you want to make sure that when you go back to where you are, wherever that is, that you at least have some sense of clarity. And sometimes that comes in your environment. Okay, because the last thing you need is be, coming home from that hospital or coming home from that stressful day at college that you didn't think you failed every test. The last thing you want to do is come back to where you be, wherever that is, and you are clustered and you feel like you don't even have any idea of where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to help you sustain yourself a lot.
Yep. Make your life easier, please.
And that leads us to number 3. Planning. All right, y'all. So this is one of my favorite ones because when we, especially when we were living out of our car, oh my God, when you are in a constant state of survival and you feel like every day you're on crunch mode, you literally can't relax, you begin to lose yourself. You begin to lose sight of all your goals. Why? Because every day you have to focus on the next problem. You have to focus on, right?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't even have time to make real goals for yourself. You don't even have time to, when you feel like you don't have time to do any of these things because you are so boggled down by what's currently happening. And so the way that you can really ground yourself is by planning for who you truly are, planning for what you truly envision for your life. So one of the things that I did constantly was I would listen to podcasts. Okay. There's a YouTuber named Myron Golden, and when we had nothing in the bank, I'm talking about negative $39, $0, nothing. I'm sitting up here listening to podcasts about finances and how to have abundant finances. So if you're in a situation where you're broke, you don't have anything, you literally are so afraid of where your life is about to go, because where are you going to go from here? These are thoughts that start cycling in your mind. You want to listen to people who are wealthy, people who are successful in their own right, in the way that you would deem success. You want to listen to these millionaires. You want to listen to these billionaires. Anything that's motivational, that's what you want to put in your ears, even if you don't know how to get there. Another thing that we did was we wrote down our goals. We did weekly and monthly check-ins. Like Mama would always get on me like, Thursday we said we was gonna, look at how we was gonna get from $10 to $30, you know, and if we would miss that, it's like, okay, what are we doing?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it involved a lot of things, like even this channel, like planning for when we would be able to do our next video, for our store, what we were presenting on our online store, when we were going to do like Instacart, or which we'll get to in a second, but whatever it is that we had decided that we were going to do, even like honestly, like planning like just days of relaxation, because honestly you have to plan for that too, like just days where you're like in your think mode, or you want to be in your think tank, or you want to just like be in meditation, or you just want some time you like to yourself, or whatever the case may be, you actually have to plan. I mean, because we're overstimulated in this world, so it's just a lot of stuff that's going on. So if you don't slow down, it's not going to slow down. You actually have to pump the brakes, on those things. So sometimes you actually have to take time to plan even that.
Yeah, and let me that reminds me, let me tell you guys what happens when you're constantly in a state of survival mode and you're going through, tough times. A week will turn into a month. Tell me I'm not telling the truth, y'all. A week will literally turn into a month. You will wake up and you will not even know where the time went. And that was happening to us constantly. We would wake up and be like, where did the time go? How did 2 months pass? It was literally just August. It was literally just September. We would start losing ourselves in the days and the weeks and the months because we're stuck thinking about how we're going to figure this out, how we're going to figure that out. And you know what happens when that happens? You lose your identity. You lose what you said you wanted to do. If you're watching this, you're probably a dreamer. You're probably somebody who said, I never saw myself in this position. I don't even know how I got here. I always knew I wanted to do this or that. Well, what happens is you start to lose that vision when you get caught up in your current circumstances.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's why it's so important to plan, because even though your current situation I have something that I always say. I always say that my current situation is, what is it? I got it right here. You are not your current situation. There's a version of myself that lives happily outside of this moment in time. And some folks say your current situation is not your permanent destination. And sometimes we forget that. Don't get caught up in what's happening to you right now, and make sure that you're planning for the life that you actually truly see yourself in.
That you want to live.
Yeah, and never let go of that.
Yeah, and that you have a future. Because trust and know, if you allow the enemy to do it, he's going to rob you. That's what he's made for, to rob you of your future. So plan for your future.
Plan. Don't get stuck. Don't get stuck here. It's going to be over.
It's going to be over.
All right. Let's get into our next one. Number 5.
Bang.
Well, we done skipped it. My bad. Number 4.
Oh. Number 4.
Number 4. Go ahead, Mom.
Number 4. Ask for help. Oh my God. OMG.
That's so hard.
That can be one of the hardest things. If you're like me and normally never have tried to ask for help and always been the person like, I can do it, I got it, then that probably is one of the hardest.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things for challenges that you'll have within yourself is because asking for help means that you have to admit that there is something about what it is that you're dealing with or going through that has got you so vulnerable that you can't handle it. Like, you don't have the strength, maybe you don't have the resources, maybe you don't have the money, maybe if there's something that you're lacking, and nobody that I know of, that's like an ugly word.
It's such a weird word.
Nobody that I know of wants to admit that they're lacking something to the point where they have to go and ask for anybody to help them. And, so.
Because you know what that harbors?
What?
Shame.
It does. And you gotta, let go of your ego. You gotta let go of pride too. And beating your chest. Because you usually, I'm the man/woman. Well, I'm a woman, not a man. Right? Okay. I'm a woman.
She don't know.
I swear. I know. I'm a woman.
Sometimes I do call you my father because you was a single mom. She my mama and my daddy.
Yeah, I never liked that. I'm just mom. But
if you know, you know.
Yes, but at the end of the day, if you don't ask, what did they say? Squeaky wheels don't get oiled, baby. And closed mouths will not get fed. And if you do not ask for support or resources or help, you ain't gonna get it.
Yeah. And we definitely had a lot of like, if we don't say something moments, like we have no idea what's going to happen next. And I do think sometimes like us not asking for help, it prolongs the suffering. It prolongs whatever it is that we're going through. And so it is literally one of our greatest tools, but oftentimes we do not, I'm sorry, y'all, there's a dog here. Oftentimes we do not ask for help because, you know, we just feel like, what if they don't help? Or what if they look at me differently now?
Yeah.
And it's just so many questions. But sometimes people can help you. Yeah. Sometimes people really do want to help you, but first you got to say something.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just like, why didn't you, like this has happened to us before. Like people have literally said, like, why didn't you ask sooner?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's because you thought that you could take care of it, and it turns out that you weren't able to. And then now you're already in this position that it has to be taken care of.
Yeah.
You know, and now you don't have another choice. And, you know, some of it is like you were saying, like shame and, you know, you feel embarrassed, you know, and then obviously like you know, people will come and ask you questions like, how did this happen? And, you know, then sometimes people will make you feel some type of way for asking them for help. You'd be surprised. We've asked people for help and their comeback is not necessarily what you thought it was going to be. Like they make you feel like some, you know, guilty almost like about it. So, you know, and then that can be a fear. Actually, that fear can be a barrier to you getting help if you're not careful. But if you need help, you know, always like maybe you have to like bite your tongue and, you know, gird yourself up, but then ask for help, you know, because there are resources. There are people out here that have a giving heart. There are people out here that are quite generous, and all they need to hear you say is I need, and they're there. And we have met, you know, even in this community, those people.
Yeah, we have.
God has sent us people in this community that have helped us. And you know, we're extremely grateful.
Yeah, even right now, the place that you see us in right now is because we ask for help. And sometimes people are not going to be able to help you exactly in the way that you want, but those little pieces that they can do, take them, because it can lead to the other piece. Okay. And just look, if somebody say no, don't stop there. Don't be like, everybody's going to say no. Keep going until God uses somebody to help you. And you have to remember that your help comes from the Lord. And how does God help us most of the time? He uses people. And that's where a lot of us get stuck at. So clock that T. Don't be like, oh yeah, God help me. And folk trying to help you, but you ain't letting folk know that you need help.
Exactly.
That part.
Exactly. God uses people, and he has used people, and he still is actually using people to help us. And I know he's using people to help you too.
Yep. Number 5.
Hustles. Did y'all hear us? Hustles. We had DoorDash, Instacart, Amazon.
You name it.
Yeah. We were doing quite a few things. Yeah. So we could keep, you know, money in our pocket, keep the money flowing. You know, some of it was consistent. Yeah.
And some of it's not going to put a dent in your wallet.
Yes. You're talking about hustles. You know, that's why sometimes people do more than one at one time, because they know that it's not giving what it's supposed to be given. But it is something that you can do to supplement an income.
Yes, it can make sure you have at least some food for the night. It can make sure that you're able to get that $10, ibuprofen that you might need, whatever it is. Um, it's still something, okay? And regardless of how they be skimping, you can still make some money on the spot, and that is why it's on our list, because when you are surviving and you trying to live and thrive, honey, you need money now.
Yes.
I need my money and I need it now.
Yes.
Y'all remember that commercial? Well, that's what these are going to do for you. So anything that you're passionate about, whatever hustle, whatever thing you got, you start working it. Even if you feel like ain't nobody going to buy it or whatever, just put yourself out there. You already done lost everything. Now it's time to try stuff you ain't never tried before and take that risk.
Absolutely. That was 6.
Be creative, okay? You need to start using that inner child, honey. So let me tell y'all what we did, some of the things that we did, okay? We wanted to go to the shower, or we needed a quick bathroom, or we needed just a quick place to just blow some steam off. Child, we would go to coffee shops. Coffee shops definitely are always going to have Wi-Fi. Libraries are going to have Wi-Fi. Gyms are going to have Wi-Fi. Parks can sometimes have Wi-Fi, and even community centers.
Yep.
Y'all, I love a good community center. Especially, a lot of people, they don't think about that. Community centers where the kids be at playing basketball and this and that, and, people have different activities. Y'all, they're usually open most of the day, and you can go in there, and if you tired of all that public foot traffic in the bathroom, most of the time these community centers, they bathrooms, ain't nobody in there.
Yep.
So that's a good place if you needed some time alone, right. You know what I'm saying? It's a good community center bathroom.
Yeah, we definitely came across like quite a few different community centers that were quiet, and you're gonna have like your kids, you're gonna have some like traffic or people coming in playing basketball, they may be playing pickleball or whatever the case may be, but they're in it. Like they focus on what it is that they're doing, and you're just coming and passing through. And a lot of times that's out of convenience, So you can definitely utilize those areas if you want Wi-Fi. You can utilize those areas if you just want to chill, like she said, and just relax. Of course, like there's nothing like the park. We definitely
we went for a lot of walks.
I want to say like the park was almost daily. It wasn't like too much that we didn't. It wasn't too many times that we didn't go to the park. We've even recorded at the park.
We spent a lot of time at the park.
Yeah,
a lot of walks. You definitely need to go for walks just to again blow some steam off.
Nothing like fresh air, you guys. And I definitely, you don't have to be living in your car or unhoused to do stuff like that. These are things that you can do as well. Take some time to yourself. Get some exercise, go take the scenic route sometimes.
Yeah.
When you walk in, like go on trails, like we did, like a little small hike or something. A lot of these things are free. So one of the things too that we also found interesting was that there are a lot of things that you can do for free. So everything does not have a cost attached to it. And of course, like we were in like a strong budget mode. Living in the car, we had to watch pretty much every penny that we had or were spending. So we were very much interested in doing something that was interesting that didn't cost a lot.
Exactly. So look, if you are in need and you feel like you need to just go back into society and feel like a normal person for a second, because whatever you're going through is making you feel like you're some type of pariah, then go through these things, go to the coffee shop, go to the library, and just blend in and forget whatever it is you're going through for a couple of hours, okay? And that is going to be very helpful to you.
Absolutely.
And that leads us into number 7. Attach yourself to programs, y'all. So this one is going to be quick, short, and to the point. If you're a person who's in need, you need food, you need clothing, or you really just need something to help you out because things are just eating up your money, or you don't have any money, you get on some EBT. If you're not on EBT, what you doing? Don't be ashamed to get on EBT. EBT is it. because it's going to help out and it's really going to take away from things eating up your check, honey. And all type of people is on EBT. Don't let the skin color fool you, okay? And so if you're looking for clothes or, you know, anything like that, look up on Google, get some Wi-Fi somewhere, some hotspot or something, because there's free stuff out there, and look up free programs for you, and they can come in clutch at times when you really need them the most.
Yeah, and I would say too about like EBT, SNAP, things of that nature. Of course, like sometimes people get ashamed and they're like, oh no, like, you know, but you never know. I would say like if you just try to apply for it, it doesn't hurt anything. You can try to apply for it and see if you qualify. Sometimes you'd be surprised what you actually can qualify for, even with the state.
Exactly. Don't count yourself out. If it's for you and it's free, what you waiting for? All right. Next, number 8.
Number 8. Make time for fun. What does that really mean? That means that you have to make it a priority to have some fun. I remember that we would look for shows that, you know, because we were like heavy on that budget, okay? But we would look for shows that were like cheap, you know, like we on Tuesdays where we were. When we
$5 Tuesday,
we would have, I think it was $5 Tuesdays and Thursdays. So, and we would like just, you know, go to the show. You know, sometimes we go like early afternoon or something like that. But anyway, we would go to the show. We would find a show that we like, because, you know, sometimes that's hit or miss, you know. But, you know, in this present age, everything ain't gravy with the shows. You know, you gotta see what you like to see. But when we found the show that was interesting, a movie, hey, we would hit up the show. You know, we actually was sneaking our snacks. Don't tell nobody.
Oh, they know.
But we would, you know, go to the show and we would just chill, watch the show, relax, you know, nothing like taking in a good movie, okay? Also, we had mentioned this before, but like walking is very therapeutic, you know.
We walk all the time.
We walked all the time and like cut stress. You know, first of all, it's a great exercise. And I've been walking like for decades, and I won't age myself too much, but I've been walking for a long time and tried to be a little power walker at one time.
A power walker?
I tried, but you know.
Power walker. I ain't never seen a power walk, Mom.
Okay, like I'm telling people.
I ain't never.
just say you ain't never seen it. Just
I've never seen a power walk. But.
Yes. Like laughs. Okay, so one time we had like this really, 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 really stressful day, and the Bible talks about how laughter is great medicine, which it is. And I don't know if we tuned into Chappelle or something like that, or some comedian that we like to watch, and just like sat there literally in the car and just watched it, like the comedy show, and just really just took some time just to laugh and smile. Actually, it's great for your facial muscles too. But yeah, so you just like laugh, literally just like have fun, like, you know, buy yourself even if it's just coming down to buying yourself your favorite snack and just like chilling for a second. Do something fun. Do something to take the edge off, to take the stress down, because like really like all of this hustling, all of this work. I know people will have you believe that that's all we're supposed to do, and we'll come back and talk about that at another time. Oh, all you need to do is work 5,000 jobs and then wear yourself out and then just go into an early grave and then everything will be okay. No, that's not where it is.
No.
Make sure there's some type of balance in your life. Get a balance. Find some space where you can balance your life and really just let your hair down and have fun.
Absolutely. 100% agree. Like if you feel like, okay, I'm just going to work myself until I get out of this situation, you're doing it wrong, honey. Unfortunately, like you definitely, if you don't have balance, you don't have nothing. And that's probably why you stressed out, got gray hairs now, and going to the hospital trying to figure out what that thing is right there, or what that symptom was right there, because you ain't having no fun. And honey, it says that if you have a proper balance, this has been studied by doctors and neurologists. If you have fun and start enjoying your life and start saying no to, oh my God, I gotta get out of this situation. I just gotta just focus on making money, but you stressed out 24/7, honey, that's because you're not making time for fun. Baby, watch some SpongeBob and get back to enjoying your life.
Absolutely.
You can do it.
You should do it.
You should do it, and take it from us. We did it, and we're okay. Okay, we're not in the hospital. We're doing well. All right, so our next one is number 9.
Number 9.
This one has to be my favorite one of all time, and it is share your story. Y'all would not be seeing us right now if we didn't choose to share our story. You would not be watching this right now.
You wouldn't know us.
You wouldn't know us, and you wouldn't be getting some of the information that you have right now, or even feeling like somebody understands your story, right? And that's because we chose to share our story online. And you don't have to always go online. You can share your story with somebody who doesn't know anything about what you're going through. You can even share with a stranger. But tell somebody what is happening to you, because your story matters. You are so very much important. And don't ever think for a second, I could never do that. I would never be them. All these limitations that some people put on themselves, and they keep themselves in a box. But let me tell you something. If we had the insight to know what your story was specifically, I promise you, you could change lives by telling somebody what you've been through and what you're currently going through. And I just think that a lot of times people underestimate the power of what God has called them through. If y'all know what a testimony is, then you know how powerful it can be when somebody shares it. So it can release you from that shame, that guilt. It has released us from so much shame of this circumstance that we've been in.
Yeah.
Y'all, we could be somewhere just down on our luck, feeling like we don't know when this is ever going to end, being completely miserable. But instead we said, no, you know what? We're going to make something of this. We're going to share it. We're going to make light of it in some way. We're going to put the God in it, because he is in it. And he's the one who started it, and he's the one who's going to finish it.
Yeah.
And so because we chose to do that, it literally liberated us from the stronghold of what the enemy wanted to do, which is completely destroy you. He wants to destroy you in your circumstances. Whatever hard, this is the hardest thing that you're going through, whatever that is. You know, that illness, that sickness, you know, that financial loss, your homelessness, loneliness, that person dying, whatever it is, the enemy wants you to suffer in it and lose yourself completely.
By yourself.
And never come back. Never stay in isolation. Never come back socially. Never achieve the goals that you've had for your life. But when you say, you know what, enemy, what I'm going through, you can't steal my joy. You can't have me. You can't steal me away from who I know I'm destined to be. And what when you share your story, it liberates you, man.
Oh,
it really liberates
it's freeing, you know, and then it also like helps somebody else. And you never know, like when she was talking about testimonies, you never know like what your story is going to do for somebody else. We had one comment, this was like early on, where the person said, like, you guys literally saved my life. Now, I don't even remember what that video was about per se at this point, but just to like even have somebody comment about that, you know, and say something like that just really just warmed our hearts. And it actually encouraged us to keep sharing. There are so many people that want to be able to relate. I see things all the time on social media where people are sharing something and I'm like, man, like, that's me, you know, or that's how I feel,
right.
You know. So I think it's just so utterly important. If you really are the type of person that wants to help somebody, you know, sharing that testimony, this is one of the best ways that you can do it. Also, it releases something, and it gives you, it puts you in good practice to be able to release what's on your heart to other people and get some of that stuff off of you.
I promise you, it's not as hard as you think it is, but
it gets easier each time.
It gets easier each time. It is hard in the sense that it's uncomfortable. It's going to make you feel uncomfortable, because let me tell you something, when you share your story, you open it up for people's opinions about your story too. And so when you do it, you have to know that this is not about nobody else. This is about me. This is about freeing me. And we actually have a video on this on our channel, so you can go ahead and check that out. It's called Own Your Story. But if you want to share your story, you have to do it for you. And that means when other people start talking and carrying on and you don't like what they got to say, because these people on YouTube, child, the way that they be commenting on videos that we make, they be out of pocket. But let me tell you something. We would not be here if we listened to them. It's not about them.
Right.
It's about liberating us and telling the world, hey, we're here. You didn't destroy me, Antoine Fisher. You couldn't destroy me.
You guys need to watch that movie if you haven't.
Hey, that's the culture. So they know it. And if you haven't, yep, you definitely need to watch it. And, I'm telling you guys, it is so freeing.
Yeah.
So trust us. This is one of the things that we did to liberate ourselves and keep ourselves living and not just surviving.
Absolutely.
And I guess that brings us to our last and final one. Number 10, y'all. Guys, number 10. Look, number 10 pretty much explains itself. Rest. The hardest one out of the entire list is rest. Look, you can go to sleep on my shoulder at any time, because some people, they won't allow themselves to do this. We don't allow ourselves the time to do this. And I'm not talking about falling asleep because we so tired. I'm talking about real rest. It is, it sounds so easy, but it's one of the number one things that's just hard to do when you feel like you can't. You don't have time to rest because there's so much going on. You can't rest because you've got to figure it out. Whatever it is, you just got to figure it out. Me and my mom and still do a lot of times, have so many nights and have had so many nights where we didn't sleep. We couldn't sleep. Sleep was on and off. There's so much on our minds, so much to be afraid of, so much anxiety, so much stress. And I cannot stress this enough, that it becomes so overwhelming to the point where it worsens your condition. It worsens what you're going through when you cannot get rest.
Yeah. Absolutely. Rest actually equates to lack of peace. If you're in a place of peace, have you guys ever noticed that when infants sleep, and sometimes I get like really envious of infants and babies, newborns when they're sleeping, because they look like they're in such peace, and it has been so many times where we haven't like thoroughly been able to like rest, like, and when, again, not just sleeping, because sometimes you could be sleeping and not resting. That's really like a state of mind and a state of your heart posture. But a lot of times we just weren't able to do that. And this is before we even became unhoused. We would have times where we would just literally like toss and turn, and like, I just can't, sleep. That's why sometimes people use sleep aids and different things, because it's really not about the physical part. It's really about what's going on. Like your thoughts are racing, things are going on with you to the degree that even if you was to sleep like 6 hours or 7 hours or whatever it is that you sleep, you still wake up and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
You know, so that stuff
so
is still on your
common.
mind. Yeah.
It's so common.
Yeah.
You know, so many people are dealing with restlessness.
Would you say it's like anxiety and fear?
I think it's all of those things, and it's just like us constantly trying to figure it out. You know, I think even that's our thing. That's like our advice, like always trying to be in a state of we've got to fix it, we've got to fix it, and then you're just like, well, I don't got the answers, and so you know you ain't got the answers, but you're constantly feeling like I gotta try to figure something out.
That's that survival mode too, though.
Yes, and it's like you have no control over this situation right now. A lot of times,
say that again.
You have no control over this situation. Whatever it is, it's happened. It already happened. It's happening right now. And so sometimes if you keep banging it, you keep knocking at the door and it's not opening, then that means you need to figure out another way. And sometimes the only way that you can get that answer that you've been seeking, that you've been looking for, is if you get the rest that you need. And I feel like all the nights where we finally just said, you know what, I surrender. I mean, I just don't have it. And God, if you don't do it, what's our song we be listening to? Lord, if you don't do it, it just won't get done. Lord, do it for me.
Yeah.
Because that's where he got that from. If you know, that meme where the older lady was singing, he got that song from there. Lord, do it for me. Because if you don't do it for me,
it's not gonna
it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. That's that reliant.
Yeah.
Being reliant on the Lord. And then when you get to the point where you literally like take your burdens, you know, and that's the discipline, taking your burdens to the Lord and like leaving them, not picking them back up.
Yeah.
Leaving them with him, then you can start to enter into this place and space of rest. You know, and I know it's a lot going on. It's been a lot going on with us. I know it's a lot going on with our community and the people who are viewing. And but we actually have to press yourself into getting into that place and space, because that's wear and tear, not just on your mind actually, but it's wear and tear on your body if you don't do it.
Yeah, y'all. So that's our last and final one. And I would say it's the most important one. And it cycles right back into the first one, which is have faith. So, child, pray, rest, repeat. I know that y'all heard of that before. And if you follow everything that we just gave you, then you will find yourself coming back to life. And you'll start to see that place that you've been in, you can start to find and see what it looks like to have some more peace and start living the way that you truly desire. And that's what we have for you for our list today.
This has been fun.
It's been so much fun. Yeah, I feel like we kind of even talked out some of the things that we have been dealing with as well. But yes, you guys, this has been so much fun.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, and as we are still transitioning ourselves, we appreciate anything you all can donate to our GoFundMe or our Cash App. And we just want to thank you all so much for like everything.
Just rocking with us.
Yeah.
You know, like we didn't have some people rocking with us from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Man, we so appreciated the newcomers and we have new subscribers.
Come on, man.
We thank you for like coming on, supporting us, supporting this content. We definitely going to be giving you more.
And y'all have changed our lives for
Yes.
real. You know, we never could imagine that we would have close to 2,800 people, you know, subscribe to us and watching our videos. So we just are so very grateful
and humbled.
And so humbled. And we cannot wait to see you guys again. So stay tuned for our next video. And as always, we love you so much.
We love you.
And we're always going to be praying for y'all. Bye. 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 Bye.